Standing in quiet silence on a mountainside overlooking Frederick's clumped church steeples, thousands of people were tormented by a fierce wind. As sleet whipped across their faces, they stared out across a hollow square. At the center of the stage was a hurriedly built scaffold, and Private John Lanahan's lifeless figure towered over everyone. One witness described the event as follows. The body, swaying in the wind, was completely covered by snow as the regiments filed past. A 3-month drama in military discipline culminated in the scene. Private Lanahan, age 30, of the 46th Pennsylvania, had been the subject of multiple unanimous court-martial hearings. For his misdeeds, Private Lanahan must perish. On August 23, 1861, Lanahan joined Company 1 of the 46th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry in Scranton, Pennsylvania. In September, the regiment departed Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and made its way to the front. They joined the Union Army's Nathaniel P. Banks Division in Maryland's Potomac River borders. Private Lanahan was arrested for fighting with another Irishman in his company while under the influence of alcohol on September 22, while the regiment was on duty at Muddy Branch in Montgomery County. Lanahan was punished by Major Arnold Lewis by being tied to the back of a luggage cart. Sometime during the regiment's march, Lanahan had escaped his restraints, taken up a gun, and vigorously pursued his captor. A reporter on the scene was filmed by the major as he rode towards Lanahan with Assistant Surgeon W. Charles Rogers and told him to surrender the gun. When Lanahan refused, the major was about to dismount to enforce the order when Lanahan backed up a few paces, took careful aim, and fired a ball and 3 buckshot shots into the major's back. Within minutes, the cherished Major Lewis passed away. Lanahan's path through the Union Army's military justice system started as soon as he was placed under armed protection. A court-martial was held at headquarters close to the front on October 21, 1861. The authorities found Private John Lanahan guilty of murder and sentenced him to be hanged by the neck until he died. Major General George B. McClellan verified the officer's conclusions in Frederick on December 13 and scheduled the execution of the sentence for December 23, 1861, near Frederick, Maryland, where Banks's division had started to establish winter quarters. 3 miles west of Frederick, in Camp White, the temporary barracks of the 28th New York Volunteers, the 23rd arose to a stormy and windy dawn. One man of the 28th New York stated that the campsite was on an elevation overlooking the city, amid a lovely maple grove at the base of the mountains. By midday, a snow and sleet storm had blown in from the west, getting stronger. The proceedings were planned to begin at 2 p.m. To get to the execution site, thousands of soldiers who had been stationed close to Frederick were marched westward toward the mountains. Private Van Willard of the 3rd Wisconsin was one of the troops waiting for the Lanahan to arrive from the guard station in Frederick. Slathering the sleet against the wooden panes and whistling around these ancient barrack buildings like the cries of 1,000 fiends, the wind was so strong that Willard quit his work as a nurse at the regimental hospital, which was housed inside 2 stone buildings from the Revolutionary War, known as the Hessian Barracks. Private Willard's account of the events is the most poignant. Here is what he wrote about the affair in his journal on Christmas Eve and December 23, 1861. I witnessed the execution, and I have never seen a more heinous scene. Seeing him hanged was a terrible event because he was so young and had such an intriguing appearance. Not a single soldier's heart did not pound with feelings of compassion. The lengthy line moved slowly forward, creating a hollow square around the scaffold, as the band played a sad death march as the vehicle carrying him and the Wisconsin 3rd approached the site of his execution. The inmate watched the execution preparations with composure and without a flinch. He walked steadily up the gallows, looking calmly over the numerous lines of soldiers below. He seemed very calm and self-possessed. Despite his extreme pallor, he accepted his fate silently. He was questioned if he was ready when he climbed onto the scaffold. He stated that he had nothing more to say than to advise the soldiers not to use intoxicating alcohol and that he was prepared and willing to die. After then, everyone got off the scaffold, leaving him standing by himself. The trap was set. He fell, fractured his neck, and died after a few minor struggles. Private John Lanahan's remains were transported and buried without fanfare or fanciness at St. John's Catholic Cemetery in Frederick's northeast corner.